Is Dr. Abrego, is there any more?
Yeah.
No, that's our recognitions.
Okay. So, I don't know, if the kids want to leave, they can.
How about the homecoming? When you gonna get
We
that?
still have another group of
Oh, we
students
still
that are
have
going to
another
come in,
group?
but
Okay.
no, they're going to do it during the superintendent's report.
Oh, okay.
I motion that we move the superintendent's report
Uh,
up and audience comments down.
Okay.
So move.
Monica?
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Moreno?
excuse me, point of order, you'd need a second, and,
We need a second.
or you can do it by acclamation. If
Okay.
everyone agrees, you could just move forward, but just to,
Motion and a second.
There
oh,
was a
then I
motion.
missed it, I'm sorry.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, under superintendent's report, we do have two items, and I think the first one that we want to see is the Mr. Chris Denmark,
Denmark.
our athletic director. If you have information on, to update us on homecoming, a big week at the high school, correct?
I have a few members that are going to join me up here.
Oh, that's a big group. That's not new, is it?
That's brand new.
Is it brand new? Oh, thank you. Extra large, right? Extra, extra?
That's good. Good night, sir. Thank you so much.
Yep, 2X. Okay. Thank you.
Gotta shake their hand tight.
I guess we're the orphans, man. We didn't get a T-shirt.
Okay.
President Quintana and members of the board and Dr. Abrego, I'd like to thank you.
Can we have your attention?
Mr. Denmark, can you please use your coach's voice?
Yes, please.
I don't do well with mics. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. We would like to thank you for the ability for us to have an incredible homecoming at Adams City High School this week. We kicked it off in a great way. On Monday, we started our Decades Day, which is well participated in, and the 80s group was something incredible to see. On Tuesday today, we had our celebration around Skype members. It was blazers on top, blazers and tie on top, and sweats on the bottom. So work on top, party on the bottom, from the standpoint of how our kids came dressed today. I just wanted to bring a few people up here to let you know how important this week is to our student body, and to thank you as board members for what you've done for us through the years and what we're doing in athletics. It has truly transitioned kids in the right arena. I do have a few people that wanted to speak, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak to you about the positive aspects of everything that's happening this week. And as well, I have my coaches, I have my players, I have our cheerleaders, we have our parents here to really thank the board for this homecoming week in 2018.
Good evening, good evening, board members. My name is Angela Herrera, and I'm the student body president this year for Adams City High School. And we would just like to invite you guys to our events that are going on during this whole week, starting on Thursday. So on Thursday, we're having our homecoming pep rally, and that's to basically hype up all the students, for the football game. And that's also where we will be announcing our royalty. Our homecoming game is that night as well. It's against Westminster at 7, and we are planning an orange out for that. So wear your orange gear to come and support the football players. On Friday, we're having our Powder Puff game, and that's from 7 to 9. We also ask that you either wear black to support the seniors or wear white to support the juniors. Please wear black. And that night, we are also having our bonfire, and that's running from, the Powder Puff game is running from 7 to 9, and the bonfire is running from 9 to 11. It'll be right after the Powder Puff game. On Saturday is our parade, and that's running from 9 to 11. And after that, we're having our barbecue, which this year will be ran by our NHS club, and the food was donated from the police department, so we have all that settled, and we hope that you guys also come to that. After the barbecue is our KMS against ACMS football game, and that's going to start at 12:30. And then after that, we have our dance, which is from 7 to 10 p.m.
No
We hope
adults,
that you
huh?
guys, huh?
No adults for the dance.
Unfortunately. Not to some other moments.
So I'm just here to speak about how we are really thankful. Oh, my name is Erica Servin. I'm class president for the juniors. And we're here to just say a big thank you for allowing a lot of the events that are going on this week to occur. Just to clarify why the game is on a Thursday night for the football homecoming game, as why we kept the Powder Puff game on Friday, was because we wanted to continue the tradition that brought many members of the community together and support the seniors and juniors. And listening to the student body, we realized that having the game on a Friday night would allow for that Friday night lights feel for the seniors and juniors participating. We still kept the fact that our football team has been working hard and keeping a good attitude throughout their summer practices and their season so far, that they deserve a game where they are able to focus all their energy in. And wanting to keep all the community satisfied and our athletes sane, we moved the Saturday homecoming football game to a Thursday night game to make sure our football players didn't show up to this competitive game burnt out. And we are proud of the football team and will do nothing but show support for them, so we thank you for allowing this.
Thank you.
And next, I'd like to bring up Coach Jones and Liban Shongola to talk to you about the football team's efforts for Thursday.
I'll start off. My name is Liban Shongola. I'm a senior student athlete at Adams City High School. And I wanted to start off by saying thank you. We're thankful for allowing us to change the game from a Saturday to a Thursday. First off, because we like to think that you guys care about the safety of our student athletes more than tradition. And we're not trying to come in here and ruin tradition. We care about the community. We just wanted to make sure that we were safe on that field, because the game of football is already tough and physical sport, and it's not meant to be played sleepy. And with playing on Saturday,
A little louder.
and
No, use your outside voice.
all right. All right. So the game of football is tough and physical, and it's not meant to be played sleepy. And being on a Saturday with all those events back to back, and being asked to wake up early in the morning to participate in the parade, and then being asked to prepare for a football game is really tough on the kids. And there's a high percentage of concussions, and that's one big thing that in the country that they're trying to keep out of the game of football. So allowing us to be well rested and play on a Thursday night is very appreciative on this side, because just like last year, we won the game of football, but we lost it in the long run. With some of my teammates here, they ended up with concussions because that game we played sleepy and worn out, and that's not how the game of football is meant to be played. You're supposed to be well rested, well energized, and that's what we're gonna be on Thursday night. Because thankfully to you, because you allowed us to play on a Thursday night rather than a Saturday after all those events back to back. So thank you, we appreciate it.
Hello, President Quintana, the board, Dr. Abrego. I'm Coach Jesse Jones. I almost don't need to speak after what she said and what he said. They pretty much covered what I wanted to cover. But I will say this, thank you for allowing us to have this game on Thursday night. For us, it's about giving our players the best chance to perform under the most favorable conditions possible. And I must say, especially looking at that in calendar mode, I really love all the events that go on from Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I can name them all. And it's a good thing to have those kind of things going on in such a community. And I'm from Southern California, and I come from a community that's similar to this, Imperial Valley, El Centro, California, and it's similar to Commerce City. No disrespect by any means to Commerce City, the community, or its traditions. We just want to give our players the best chance to enjoy the entire slate of events throughout the entire weekend. We understand when you go from Thursday's events, then you have the Powder Puff game, and then it's followed by a bonfire, and it's a whole lot. We really, as coaches, hone in on making sure we talk to the kids about getting home, but let's be honest, after a bonfire, they're probably not going to make it home till 2, 3 a.m., and then they're excited, so it's hard to get to sleep. Then they wake up at 7 a.m., stage for a parade, they're in the parade, And then after the parade, we got to get them ready for a football game. Last year, personally, I witnessed something that it really broke my heart because I'm a father as well, and I have kids that play sports. And I would like to know that my kids' coaches care about their well-being beyond the X's and O's. I saw a lot of kids struggling to get prepared for the game. And I looked at the coach and said, we have to do something about this because it's really rough on these guys. So with that said, we won homecoming, 38-14. That was my first homecoming as a head coach. But as you're clapping, let me and allow me to say, but did we really win? We lost in the long term because I'm looking at 6 guys who couldn't go, and these are a couple of them. A couple of them were seniors last year, and a couple of them are here, and maybe one's missing. But we had 6 guys we had to go to the next 2 games without, and that was the beginning of our downward spiral for the rest of the season, and it really hurt. And that was that moment where we, as a coaching staff, said we have to do something about it. And it's not to disrespect, once again, any traditions or the city of, or Commerce City as a community, but it's to give our players the best chance to succeed. So basically, win, lose, or draw, we, my athletic department, my coaching staff, and I are 100% committed to the long-term health and well-being of our young athletes as they head into their futures. And we just want to make sure that everybody else is on board with that same vision. And once again, thank you.
Thank you.
And last, I just have one recognition I'd like to make with student athletes that's here tonight. John Esparza? Esparza? Come on up. I wanted to make sure that I recognize John is also a member of our art club at Adams City High School, and he is our designer for our logo that we wear this year on the helmets, on the shirts, on the merchandise. The work and quality of work that he did, I don't know. Who has a shirt? I don't know. We have a couple here. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. I just wanted to make sure we recognize that because very rarely do student athletes and students themselves get the opportunity to really impact the alma mater while they're there at the school. And I just thought that was something I wanted to recognize of athletics and of John himself as a great student here in Adams 14.
Thank you.
And that's all. Thank you, Dr. Brago, for your time.
Okay, thank you. And also for our students, we do have my report, and I know we usually let you leave, but I would like for you to stay so you can see what our schools are doing. It's only going to take about maybe 5 minutes, so at this time, Monica, could you bring up the 3-year trend, please? And during my superintendent report, I want to let everyone know how the district is doing. So this is a 3-year framework trend on our district. And what I wanted to share with everyone here is that we are on track to meet the board's goal. And the board, as superintendent, they stated to me that they wanted every single school at either improvement or performance by the end of this school year. So there is our 3-year framework, and I'm just going to try to highlight a few things. If you look at the year 2016, we did not have one green school at that time. That's the highest level you can have. We did have 3 red schools, which is the lowest level you can have. And it was not a very good year, so we have 11 schools, and 3 were either at, the colors we're looking for is green or yellow. You can see that we had 3 schools, and that is at improvement, or the second highest level rating for the state. Then we moved on to 2017, and you can see from the 3 red schools, we narrowed it down to 2, so that was good. And what happened in 2017, Adams City had our first green school, the highest level performing school. You can see that Kearney Middle School is green. That's the highest level performance. I know that, thank you all the students that went to Kearney. I know you're proud. And Kearney led the way in 2017. And look, we also had 1, 2, 3 yellow schools, which is the second highest level. So in 2017, we're moving up, and now we have 4 of 11 schools that are off the clock. That means they're doing good. They're either at green or yellow, which is either the highest or second highest level of performance. And then we go on to 2018. And the best thing that I see in 2018 is we do not have any red schools. So that is a great accomplishment. Then you're looking at Kearney. Kearney, once again, they stayed green. So 2 years in a row, Kearney stayed green. And what happened in our district besides Kearney? 2 other schools joined them. That means at the highest level performance, green. Alsop, I don't know if any students went to Alsop, but Alsop turned green, and then Kemp turned green also. So great job. And as we were moving on, we had schools that had been yellow. Adams City Middle School was yellow. They kept it, so that was very good. And then Lester Arnold, we're still going to hear, but they're still yellow. But as we're going to 2018, we not only have 3 green schools, we've also added some other schools to improvement. So we were very happy to see Monaco. Look at the year 2018. They went from priority improvement, which means you're on the clock, and they got out and they went to improvement. So that was a great job. We also had DuPont, which went from priority improvement to improvement. So this is the best year we've ever had. We've made history by having 7 out of 11 schools that are doing great in our district. So thank you to the board. You set very high standards. We really appreciate that. And the board supports us because what they say to me as a superintendent, Dr. Brago, find out what those schools need and make sure we get it to them. And you can see from the prior presentations that they have allocated over $1 million for computers. You heard the girls that passed all those out. So thank you to our board for that. We are always concerned about our curriculum for our ELL students, so they put another $1 million into that. So they're doing great things, and our schools are doing great. So before I move on, let's give us a good hand because this is the best year we've ever had. But some of you that were not at the last board meeting, we're doing a great job, and the board said, we want more. So thank you again. They continue to drive the district, and what they said to us was, it made a lot of sense. They said, Dr. Brago, we're trying to get 1 year's growth for our students, but that's not enough. We want more. So now we're going to set some different goals for our schools, and this is what we want. And I know it sounds like monumental, but these are goals that we're striving for. One goal that we're going to strive for is we want 75% of our students to meet or exceed on a CMAS. That is, I mean, that's a very high goal to attain, but if we do that, we will move out of this turnaround and get to meets, and that's what we're trying to get to. The other thing is, again, no more 1 year's growth. We're going to go 1.5 or 2 years. We're asking all our principals and teachers to do that. As far as attendance for our staff, we have that signs everywhere that says 5 days or less and be on time. So we're striving for all our staff. If you work in Animals 14, try not to miss more than 5 days. We want to be at 97% for our staff. And for our students, and I want you to hear me, we set a goal of 95%, and we really need it from the high school because despite everything that we've been doing to improve, we still have to go in front of the state board. And one thing that they asked us for is they go, we need 90% attendance from our high school, and we haven't earned that yet. We were very close. We were 88. So this year, students help us because we are trying to do that, and that's very, very important. So again, despite the fact that this is great, we're doing well, the district and the high school still have to go in front of the state board. And this is what's going to happen. And I want our students and everyone here to know. The document that I have here is 50 pages for our board, and I condensed it for you to 2 pages. So those are the most important things that are going to happen. But just for our students and for everyone here, it's basically 3 things. One is the state review panel is going to come one day to our district, and they're going to monitor, see what's going on. They've already asked us, have all these documents prepared for us. That's number one. The other thing they're going to do is they're going to be interviewing staff because they want to know what's going on. Are you ready? Is Adams City High School in the district ready to get out of turnaround? What are you doing? So after that, they come and they have to make a report. They submit that report to the state board. And then in November, we're going to be told what our outcome is. So again, we need everyone's help. I keep saying, if we're going to turn this district around, our board are our leaders. They've already given us the direction. They've given us as much support as they can, but it's all of us coming together, everyone. And I'm talking about the teachers, the administrators, the parents, the entire community, because this is so important for us this year. This is an urgent year, and again, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Again, the board has set very high standards. You can see we're doing well. We only have 4 more schools that we have to improve, and our goal is by the end of this year, every single school will be at improvement or green. And again, thank you to the board for setting those high standards, and I assure you that everyone is working very hard to get there. So thank you, and that's my board report. Thank you.
I'll give them a few minutes to
If they want to leave.
exit if they want to.
And thank you, everyone, for attending, the students.
Now go home and study. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is my environment.
Thank
luck.
you.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good job.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you.
No excuse,
So you encourage your classmates to get
no excuse
smarter
come
and
Thursday,
smarter.
right?
Smarter.
It's no excuse Thursday, right?
Good luck to you.
It's no excuse Thursday, right? No excuse Thursday. It's no
Well, he's
excuse.
going to be rested, huh?
There you go. No excuse
Thank
Thursday,
you.
right?
Good luck.
Oh, thank you
Thank you.
so
Good
much.
job.
Good luck to you.
Thank
too.
you.
If you want to give them to me,
Thank you, and I better hear your
Ladies
cheer.
get flowers.
Thursday.
Better your-
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Good luck. Okay.
I'll be listening for your cheers. Better be loud.
Great job. Thank you for what you did.
Did you forget me? Did you forget about me?
Man,
Did you call those parents?
thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Yeah, de nada.
Why are we leaving? I got some stuff, man. Yeah. Hey,
Where's my little
hey, how come him and I are the orphans? Yeah, we didn't get a T-shirt. They got T-shirts. We didn't get a T-shirt.
They had
Could
you
wear it on Thursday night.
trying to get you outside.
I had to get mine. Okay,
You cost me a bet.
we'll start with audience comments. I'd like to read first. State your name. You have 3 minutes to speak, and don't give your, don't mention names, okay? You can do your comments and all that, but be very careful, okay? So first I'm going to call up Jorge Garcia. And you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jorge Garcia. This is constructive criticism motivated by a sincere desire to improve the quality of the educational program and for better education for children. Despite Abrego's attempts to make it seem like this district is doing so much better than in
You're
years
using names.
in the past,
You can't
I can
use-
mention names,
You
years in the
cannot
past.
mention names.
The truth is that the district is still not off the clock. He promised that he would have the district out of turnaround in 2 years or he would resign. That was the first of many false promises to this community. The district is dumping thousands of dollars on consultants to try to improve the district's image, but continues to cut programs that help students, like biliteracy and Inspire. What will it take to improve the district's image? Accountability, honest communication and transparency, ethical responsibility, and a competent administration. Do you even know what your employee is doing and why? The first week of school, Abrego spent a good part of a day going to Boulder to meet with the Dean of the School of Education. Now, the district has no contracts or connections with CU Boulder. Abrego ended those already with false information given to you by Tanya Lopez and by Abrego himself to get you to go along. Now, why did he go to CU with Darcy Moore? They were trying to get the dean to stop CU students and staff from making public comments to this board, to silence dissent. Worse, how did they represent you in the district? Darcy Moore took her shoes off in the meeting with the dean of the School of Education in the state's flagship university. How does that look for the district's image of competence
Mr. Garcia,
and
we're
professionalism?
gonna ask you to stop because this is not constructive criticism.
Yes, it is.
So I'm asking you to
We're
stop.
not going to argue with Madam President.
Get him off.
You're going to remove me from this meeting?
Your time is up, sir.
No, it's not up.
The board has stated that your time is up.
I'm going to refer all of you to this. I'm going to ask you to talk to your attorney because this is illegal. You're going to take me out? This is illegal. This is public comment. I have a right to make public comment. It's a public forum. Do you know what that is? I have the right to say names. Randy Black was here and told you what the law was. He told you what the law was. Are you?
I am, sir. I'll escort you out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You'll be hearing from me. My attorney.
Next, we have Joanna Rosa Sainz.
Good evening, Dr. Abrego, Mr. Rolla, Senator Moreno, Madam President Quintana, and Mr. Thomas. My name is Joanna Rosa Sainz, and I am a parent community organizer with Agave Padres. Since last year, I've had the pleasure of speaking with each of you, with the exception of you, Senator Moreno, which I hope to get on the books with you soon. I am here once again to express my concerns with the school quality in Adams 14. Currently, 2 out of every 10 students are prepared for middle school in Adams 14, and less than 1 out of every 10 are meeting college-ready benchmarks after high school. Something must change now in this district. Our students don't get 3rd grade back. I am here tonight to urge the board to think about how we can support all of our students better. We need leadership, change, and innovation. I also wanted to mention with Dr. Abrego, the 3 green schools, in the 3 green schools, no more than 26% are meeting benchmarks on parquet reading and writing. So our students are not even making 1 year of growth in the 1 year. Every year our students attend Adams 14, they are actually falling behind. I will wrap this up with a saying that I say over and over. Each of you, please step up or step down from your position. Thank you.
We already did the superintendent's report, so I'd like to move on to the routine items. 1.1, superintendent's recommendation, personal actions. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 1.1, superintendent's recommendation for personnel actions.
Can I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
We're moving on to business. 1.1. Superintendent's recommendation, resolution number 18-010. Resolution in support of Amendment 73. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of resolution number 18-010.
Can I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second resolution number 18-010.
And discussion? None? Roll call?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
2.1, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to accept grant funds for the school's counselor corps grant from the Colorado Department of Education for Kearney Middle School. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.1.
Second? Can I have a second?
I second, Madam Chair.
Discussion? No discussion? Roll call, Monica.
Mr.
Please.
Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Next, 3.1, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase Achieve 3000 for Adams City Middle School, Kearney Middle School, the in-school suspension alternative program, and Lester Arnold High School. Can I have a motion? No motion? Senator?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 3.1, but I do have questions.
Can I have a second?
I second, Madam Chair.
Discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was wondering, just on this piece, because it looks like a substantial amount of funds, to clarify that this would be coming from our Title I federal funds, number one, and then two, to just get an idea of how many Title I federal funds we have and how much this would take up of that.
Sure. So our title funds, we received a little over 2.6 million in title dollars across the district, with 1.5 being allocated to the schools, specifically K-12. And that's based off of our free and reduced lunch formula. For this, what we're looking to allocate is from a district managed account, because we're looking to support them as a tier 2 intervention for students, and a tier 3, which is an online product that offers support for students around literacy and math, and specifically around nonfiction texts. So our teachers at both middle schools have been asking for this, and our principals, so we went through it exclusively with our vendors who are here tonight, so they're able to answer any questions that you may have on the product specifically and what it does. It has research around it and the data that they've have provided us, and we've met with the principals, our finance department. We will be splitting it with ELPA funds. And so we're doing a 70-30 model, so 70% of it will come from our district-managed Title I funds, and 30% will come from our ELPA funds. Because these are grant-funded accounts and dollars, we have also listed in our contract that if we don't have these funds next year or they're reduced, then that would help to terminate the contract. And we also listed in our scope of service specific deliverables that we're looking for around student achievement as part of our goals with using their product and their services from this provider.
So the 110,000 the first year, that's going to be split between ALPA and your Title I?
Yep, so 70% of that 110,000 will be funded by Title I. The 30% of that 110,000 will be funded by ELPA, both with district managed accounts, so it won't affect the school's Title I funds.
Okay. Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Ms. Burke, I'm wondering, I would love just kind of like a brief overview of what the program is and what outcomes we can expect with this investment, if that's you or the...
I'll bring our vendors up to be able to help as our guest speakers. And then with the goals that we've written into the contract and our scope of service, we've listed in the professional development services that will be helped developed by our principals. It will be either done during their early release days, which are already on our calendar, or done during their professional development time, the 45 minutes that is directed by the principal. So it'll be embedded. We have it phased in, so that'll be our next step if this is approved tonight, that we'll bring in the coaches from each of these locations and the school principals to develop that. We've purchased 7 days of professional development for this year, spread out. That will come in the form of direct one-on-one with the teachers, side-by-side coaching, And that'll be customized to Adams 14's needs and be set up with each campus specifically. The goals that we have outlined is that we would see anywhere from 0 to 5% increase in student achievement for our users that are using it. It's an online web-based, so we're purchasing licenses for the students to be able to access the database with all of the materials and resources that they're going to provide to us. We don't want to see that our data is moving backwards, but with our implementation curve, that's why we put in the 0 to 5% or more, which was listed in the contract.
So, is this gonna be almost like BT, almost in a sense, external partner, or something like that?
So it won't be an external partner. BT is a framework that we're using with a structure. This is an actual resource that the students will interact with online. So if the students, for example, in 6th grade language arts are learning around main idea, and they're doing that through a life science skill around a science topic, then they'll be able to access the database for resources on that topic around their Lexile level. So if a student is reading at a Lexile level of 800, then they'll be able to find an article that is supporting that content and that academic standard. And if a student is reading at a Lexile level of 500, they'll provide the same standard, same content, but it'll be at their reading ability level. So that they can have the same discussion in class.
How often do you get like the data to, like, do you do them check them every 2 weeks to see if there is growth?
Right, so there's assessments that are built into the program with them, so they'll be able to monitor that through the student assessments. Those can be daily and they can also be weekly. We don't want them to go past the month because we want to know where they're at within that standard as we're teaching it, and that will be determined on the instructional maps that the schools are using. Or if they're a BT school, then the frameworks that BT is providing around that 4 to 5 day standard that's being taught. And I can bring our vendors up because they can articulate this way better than I can.
Okay. Go ahead.
You did a great job.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Chair, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Abrego. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Mark Turner. I'm joined by my colleague Caroline Haefling with G3000. I'm based here in Colorado, and Caroline is from California, but is forever in Colorado because she loves the state so much. I want to give you just broad strokes on what a G3000 is, and then we'd be happy to answer whatever questions you may have, if that's okay with you. So G3000 is a program made up of about 10,000 non-fiction lessons drawn from science and social studies, covering grades 2 through 12. As Sheila did such a great job of describing, the neat thing with our program is that all of those lessons, all of that content, rooted in grade level and grade level standards, can be accessed by students at their unique Lexile levels. So every single student in the same class can be working on the same lesson, again, rooted in their grade level and their grade level standards, but accessible to them based upon their current Lexile level. And then because of the way that the system is built, we're always looking to accelerate students. Meeting students where they're at, particularly if they're behind the curve, is fine, but obviously we want to close that achievement gap, right? I notice I have this green wristband on here. I like the idea of go green, right? I want all of our schools to go green. And that's what we're looking to do for you guys. All of the research on a G3000 over the last 16, 17 years says that when the program is implemented with fidelity, school districts can routinely expect 1.5 to 2 years growth, Lexile growth, in a single school year. And we see that across Colorado and all of the districts we partner with. And we also see it in our national Lexile study, which I'm going to be happy to leave you a copy of. And also I can send you a copy of digitally if you'd be interested in seeing that. I can send it to Sheila and she can forward it on to you. Caroline?
Yeah, and I was just going to speak to the professional services that Sheila was talking about, in that we've already met in advance with the principals at each campus to discuss their instructional models, also to talk about their district initiatives around literacy. And our greatest goal is to partner as a consultant and not just go in as a trainer and to take away professional development days, but really to integrate the platform into the instructional models that are being used in daily, and also not to impact the student time during the day, but really to work in integration with the teachers on campus with our professional services. So we've been working with Sheila and the team on that as well.
Have anything?
I can't
Oh,
find.
one last thing I do want to mention, because you mentioned ELL earlier, all of our resources, all 10,000 lessons, are available in English, 100% in Spanish, or in a dual language setting, which enables students to straddle the two languages to help with the transition of skills from one language to another.
I read something said guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. So, how did y'all put guaranteed into the contract with us? I'm not understanding that.
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not sure I understand the question. Would you mind just restating that for me?
I
think maybe I didn't quite catch the beginning of it, that was all.
Yeah, it was in the contract you had guaranteed.
That it's guaranteed.
You said guaranteed in your contract, and I'm trying to find it. But nothing is guaranteed. So I'm trying to figure out how can you guarantee us that our students is going to do X, Y, and Z. Nothing is guaranteed. So I'm trying to figure that out. How can you do? How can you put that in the contract?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Mr. Thomas, it may be something that I put in there. So as we're making sure that we have a positive return on our investments, because this is a large amount of money that we're looking at across 3 of our campuses and then our alternative middle school program, we wanted to make sure that we have a goal listed in their scope of service that we're achieving towards, so that we can determine if our program is working and that we're getting the rate of return on there. So we needed to have a way built in. I'd have to look under the section that you have. Our contract is not final yet. We needed to go through the approval here. I know John had sent me a question earlier that I needed to address. So if this is approved tonight, then our next step would be to go through and finish negotiating the contract. We were starting that process a little in advance, knowing that it was risky, and we haven't done any work yet pending tonight's approval, so that we didn't delay the schools if this were to go forward, so that we can give them, we didn't have to spend another 2 to 3 weeks negotiating that. So we began the process knowing that nothing's been signed or final. John had some questions, and I wasn't able to get to him earlier today to be able to answer those, but I'll make a phone call tomorrow. So I'm not sure under the guarantee part section if it's under the scope of service of where I've listed it, or if it's under a different section in the contract.
So if I ain't mistaken, we're going backwards. So we're approving something, a contract. Then we're going to have the district attorney to oversee it, to make the corrections. Then it's coming back to us to redo it and look at it again. Then it's going to you to get to them, and we're talking almost $200,000 for 3 years that's going back and forth. So it shouldn't come to us first. It should have went to John first to get back to them to see if they approve with the language John is changing. You see what I'm saying? There's too much back and forth with us to bring it to the dais.
Right,
for us to approve.
So like I said, our contract is not final, because if our board denied the approval of it, then there was no need for us to move forward with a contract. So we're in those negotiation processes. John is looking at it with them. We had some internal reviews of it. There was things that our principals wanted to make sure, and that we have a deliverable outcome with the product that we're investing in. So it's not final yet. John is still helping us. But like I said, if the board determines that this is not something we want to move forward with, then it stops here. If it's an approved rate, then we follow the rest of the process from purchasing and from finance.
So in essence, we putting the Board of Education in a squeeze mode, because say that, for instance, the Board of Education, us four sitting up here saying we like this, but now we want to. We saying we want to vote on it, but we want to vote on it once it's correct. We want to vote on it once it's done properly, once it's done thoroughly, and once it's vetted right. But now we voting on something that's not correct, that's in front of us, that's not thoroughly done the best practice.
And maybe that's my misunderstanding, Mr. Thomas, of our process. I believe my understanding is that we came to the board first for approval, and then we began the negotiation process and the contracts after the approval began. If it's in the reverse order, then that's my mistake, and I'll work to fix that. But I was trying to maximize our time to get the schools what they needed.
No, I don't, it's not your mistake, Miss. It's probably been the practice of this district, so I'm not, no, it's not your
Let me see
mistake.
if I get what you're saying. You have the program, you just wanted the board's approval for the program, and pending the lawyers looking over the contract, and then it would come back to the board for approval.
Right, so here's the process that I followed for clarity. We had a need, our principals brought this to us, that they were seeking out a need around a Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention support, specifically at our secondary level. We looked at the needs in their data, we looked at other vendors, and they determined as principals that they wanted to move forward with Achieve 3000. We brought Mark Turner in for several meetings. We met as an instructional district team. We met with the principals during that meeting. He explained the process. From there, we determined as a team if this was something we wanted to move forward with. From that next meeting, we brought in additional staff members because that meeting we determined we wanted to move forward. So we had Mr. Turner come back on probably 3, maybe 4 different occasions with different colleagues from Adams 14 to determine if this was the next step. When we said that we all had agreed that this was something we wanted to move forward with, that's where our superintendent's recommendation came in. So that we could maximize the time, I started the contract process early, knowing that it was not going to be final until we had an approval from the board because of the amount of money and the dollars we were spending and the allocations of where they were coming from. So the contract, like I said, is not final yet. We still have to go through that process, but we're seeking your guidance for the approval for us to move forward with finishing the negotiation on the contract. And if I've missed or made an error in that process, by all means, I'm open to fixing that and making sure that I am aware of what our process is. But my understanding is that we came to the board for approval first, and then we worked through the contract, knowing that our legal department would need to review it as well.
So let me see what the attorney suggests we do.
Madam Chair, the contract is a standard district contract, so the contract itself is fine. The issue that was raised by the vendor pertains to one specific paragraph of the agreement that the district typically requires, and it has to do with intellectual property and who owns something like what they've described, computer software essentially that has embedded valuable information in it. So I've made some suggestions on that today after I saw the agreement, and whether it could be resolved or not, I don't know. But it is the type of, sometimes you take these as they come, but this is one that it would seem that if the board is inclined to, it could rule and approve it subject to final resolution of a legal issue if it wanted to. It's not, what I'm getting at is I think this is just one issue that there's a chance it could be resolved.
Okay.
So you could move ahead and approve it. If on the other hand, you're just not comfortable with that and you want to see the final agreement, or you want to have more information from me about what that issue is, I'm happy to discuss it in executive session, and you should then not approve it tonight if you're just not comfortable with that. You could do that as well and take it up at a later date.
Okay.
I'm able, Madam Chair, to address the concern that John rose in there about the ownership of the property around the licenses.
Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so just a clarifying question, will the final contract come back before the board for approval once the negotiations are done?
Well, typically when you would see something like the superintendent's recommendation, that's it. Your approval tonight would be the approval to execute the agreement. So you certainly could, if the whole board wanted to modify the motion or make your approval contingent, you could do that as well. But what's presented before you would be approval of the of this relationship to be consummated by contract.
May I just make a quick comment?
Sure.
Is that okay? I'm the regional director for Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, so I work with a lot of districts across those 3 states. And we haven't yet, in the 2.5 years I've been with Achieve, found ourselves in a situation where we haven't been able to resolve any component within our contract. I don't know how familiar you are with Jeffco, but they're a really interesting district to work with in regards to data. Let's leave it at that. And we've been able to negotiate with them very successfully. We're actually in several of their schools and working very effectively. And I also want to say on behalf of Sheila as well, I can't remember a time I've been through a more rigorous process to get to this point with the school board. She brought me in for many, many meetings with a variety of different team members and really vetted us thoroughly. She forgot to mention also that she brought Caroline in for a meeting specifically to address concerns around training and ensuring that we could accommodate the teachers' schedules and give them the support they needed. So regardless of where this goes tonight, I just want you to know that I think she did an admirable job.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think what we're just struggling with is really more of a process question. And Ms. Burke, I don't think there's any need to apologize. I don't think you did anything inappropriate. It's just that we typically see an appropriation for funding and a contract together, hand in hand. And so I just think that's what the board is struggling with. But I'm fine with the motion that I previously made.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. So, Monica, can we have roll call then?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have 4.1, board action on board recommendation, level 4 grievance, 5/21/2018. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I have just a clarifying question on this, because for this item, there is no superintendent recommendation, so I guess I would ask you, Mr. Farrell, what would an appropriate motion look like?
So a motion, the board needs tonight to decide whether it has been asked to hear this level 4 grievance. So it just needs to decide tonight whether it is going to hear it or not. And it could do that by a motion in the affirmative, or it could be a motion in the negative. And it could be very simple to say, I move that the board either hear, or I move that the board not hear level 4 grievance 05/21/2018.
What's the number?
4.1.
You see the number? Yeah, I was gonna read this part here.
It's just the date.
Oh. That- Okay.
So do I have a motion or to approve it, to hear it,
Or not to hear.
or not to hear it?
Yeah, you can call for a motion and somebody from the
And
board
then-
can make it however they want
Yeah.
to make it, whichever way. Or you could invite one particular one or the other. It's up to you as chair.
So,
I move that the board not hear the level 4 grievance 05-21/212.
can I have a motion?
Second.
Second. You second?
A second for not to hear grievance 420, what is it? 5/21/18.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on this piece, I do think that there's aspects of this grievance worth pursuing in terms of better processes for the district. But I think those can be accomplished outside of the grievance process as well. So just want to make sure that's known.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Next is communications. So, one of the things we needed to discuss was, the Historical Society calendar. We need to get that in as soon as possible.
What?
They want a calendar and a picture of it, the board on it. So we don't have a current picture together with Senator Moreno. So, I don't know how we would do that, if they can move our singles around, I don't know.
We would do, if the board decides to participate in the fundraiser that they're doing. What I
Yes.
understand is the pictures
Like
of
100.
participants would go on like playing cards. And
Or calendars, I think they said, something like that.
some
Yeah.
printed version. What I discussed with Cameron would be, because we don't have a group photo of the entire board yet, we would do a collage of your
Okay.
individual pictures with the district logo to go on that card if you decide to
Okay,
participate.
so I guess that's what we need to discuss. Do we have a consensus? Is that what I use, Monica?
Yes.
To do this fundraiser for the Historical Society?
I'm good.
Okay. We're good, Monica, so can I have roll call to approve that?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
And I'm thinking,
While you're thinking, I'll comment. I'd just like to, got a couple questions. First is the good, I guess, and then the bad. But first, I'd like to thank my colleagues for showing up Saturday night at the spaghetti dinner for the fire department. We had met a lot of people there, and I think Mr. Harvest and Mr. Moreno and I were there for about 5 hours. Connie was there for an hour, but 2 hours.
excuse
But
me.
anyway, the whole time we were there, we never heard nothing bad about the district. A lot of people came up and were commenting a lot of the good things that we're doing, and thanked us for what we were doing. So, and we met a lot of people. There was a lot of people from the district that showed up to come and eat, and had a good time over there. So we got to meet a lot of people. But the same thing as I was walking into the spaghetti dinner, I noticed that the cracks on that parking lot are getting wider. I thought we had approved for that to get done this summer. Am I correct or wrong there, Mr. Tom?
You did, we did.
We could discuss that in executive session. If you,
We could do that
with
after.
Mr. Milner, we can discuss that in an executive session after. It shouldn't take but about 5 minutes.
All right. Also, my other thing was, I'm helping coach baseball, and I keep looking at that backstop. Is there any time frame when that's going to get fixed? I don't want to see our kids playing on a second-grade field because they wasted time and not getting that fixed.
There are some parts that had to be ordered. They should be here next week, and as soon as they come in, it'll be done next week.
Okay, because I want it to get done before the dirt starts getting hard and a lot hard. Next one, same with the baseball field, is there's a lot of weeds. Did we not spray on that field? Could you find that out, Sean?
Yep. I talked with Mr. Castillo about all the weeds and everything out there, and he was working on it this week.
Okay. And just hope to see everybody at the football game Thursday night, at least for a half.
Senator Moreno, do you have any communications?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, just, I actually noticed the same thing Mr. Rolla did about the cracks in the parking lot at Adams City High School. And it's funny, actually. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a student program where we taught the students how to repair the pavement, which apparently we have. So that's wonderful. But looking forward to the board retreat coming up, and I think a lot of good work will be accomplished there.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
I know your name.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say congratulations to Kemp on a 60-year. This Saturday, I was in the dunk tank, and a lot of people dunked me. Dr. Brego came. Dave came later, and he walked around.
For like an hour, maybe.
But just want to say it was a tremendous event, and it made the community proud to see that, and just had a good time. And also went to the boys soccer game at the high school. They was winning 6-2 when I left. It was like 5 minutes left, but just say Adams City, Commerce City proud, and just be proud of what we're doing for each other. And like Mr. Moreno say, look forward to this retreat and working together, and let's get these things done and accomplished. Thank you all.
And I want to say, come to the game, enjoy it. It's going to be warm weather, so probably plenty of food, but come to the game. It's normally really fun. And I just want to say I was so proud of the students that came out tonight. Just hearing them, seeing them, listening to them, I thought it was just great. So thank you, students, and I think we're going to have a good year, so we're leaning toward the right way. We just need to work as a team to do it, so we'll do it. So, Connie.
I'd like to invite everybody to the DAC meeting tomorrow night.
Oh,
5:30. We'll be discussing and reviewing the application for the KIPP charter school again.
Okay.
Everybody's made comments that we need more participation in DAC, and that's why I'm here tonight, because I wanted to learn more about charter school. And thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome. So, oh yes, the board will not be there because we have another meeting that we need to attend. So, but I thank you for the invitation, and that's it. So everybody have a.
We're going to go into exec.
Oh, sorry about that. We're going to go into exec with Jonathan Farrow.
Okay, you should follow your process
For
for
legal
that.
advice.
Yeah, you'll need a
Let me find my
motion.
paper.
You have one notice, so you're in good shape there.
Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to go into
CR.
executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, paren 4, paren B, for the purposes of receiving legal advice on specific matters.
Can I have a
Madam Chair, I second the motion goes executive session for legal advice.
roll call?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Everybody go home. It's 8:10.
Oh.
Oh.
See you.